In 1829, the building of the St. James Church commenced, and the English, it was clear, were now here to stay. In 1837, Bahadur Shah Zafar became the last Mughal emperor, the same year that Victoria ascended the throne in far-off England. The destinies of their empires, though, were fated to opposite trajectories. By 1857, the East India Company had been in Delhi for over 50 years, and the Mughal Empire existed only as a figment of an old king's imagination. Suddenly, the tables seemed to have turned, and Bahadur Shah was back in the saddle. The English were routed by a rebel sepoy army, and Delhi taken on the 11th of May. The empire struck back with ferocity, and on the morning of the 14th of September, after a long siege, the final assault was mounted on the Kashmiri Gate that punctuated the northern wall of Shah Jahan's city. The gates were blown with a powder train, and Delhi retaken by the English. Retribution followed swiftly, and Delhi citizens were either executed or evicted. It took a few years for normalcy to return, as those evicted were allowed to straggle back. But Delhi could not be ignored for long. Its position, equidistant from Bombay, Karachi and Calcutta, meant that it soon became the commercial capital of India. On the 1st of January 1867, the first regular train steamed into Delhi, and soon Delhi was connected by rail to all parts of the country. The Coronation Darbar of 1911 was a coming-of-age party for the British Raj. George V was proclaimed King Emperor of India, and the Darbar was a grand affair with a majority of India's rulers in attendance. Meant to proclaim the supremacy of the empire, the Darbar was also used for two important announcements: the shifting of the capital from Calcutta to the historic centre of power in India, Delhi, and the building of a new city of Delhi. The architect chosen to bring the city to life was Edwin Landseer Lutyens. Lutyens laid out the new city with the Viceregal Lodge, now known as Rashtrapati Bhavan, as the centrepiece on the Raisina Hill, with the Kingsway, now known as Rajpath, leading up to it, and balanced it with the India Gate at the other end. In this monumental venture that took 20 years for completion, he was partnered by Herbert Baker, who did the flanking Secretariat buildings and Parliament House. The use of Indian motifs, the chhatris and the elephants, along with classical European architecture, created an entirely new order of architecture that Lutyens named the Delhi Order. Lutyens' creation exhibited an abstract universal human vision that had made him one of the leading architects of the 20th century, and his New Delhi a marvel of the time.